Hey everybody, Mike Lowe here from Operation Sports. Just wanting to do a quick video here discussing Diamond Dynasty and the variety or lack thereof when it comes to the Diamond Dynasty roster makeup. And just a little background, I think this is, first off, Diamond Dynasty is a really fun mode. It's very popular. I actually rated it the highest mode in the game this year when I did my little kind of end of the year review for the game. And it's a lot of fun. It's just what I found is I don't play it a lot though, and I was thinking why, what happened with this mode? And what I've noticed for me is just that the teams all end up kind of looking exactly the same, especially when you're talking about ratings, overalls, that kind of thing. But even when I look closer, I've had some people tell me that, well, the names are different, but really they're not. When we look at this a lot closer, those are also not the same. And to me, saying that we see unique Diamond Dynasty rosters and names, but with all of them being the same rating, is kind of like saying there aren't too many white college coaches in college football because they have different names. The argument just doesn't hold up. First, let's look at rosters, just the overall ratings. Where I'm looking here is first off the top 5 teams in Diamond Dynasty right now and the highest level available. And I'm looking at that pie chart on the right. And as you look here, especially at these first 4 teams, watch how this graph changes or doesn't change as I go through here, these 4 teams. Now, I can't look at the particular roster ratings exactly in this mode. At least it would probably take me way longer than I'm willing to spend. But if you look at these shapes, they don't really change. And if you notice, they're all kind of the same thing. Contact and power is maxed out, pitching is maxed out, defense is pretty close, and speed's a little less just because those power hitters typically don't have a lot of speed. Now, even if I go to the top 5 team, because I only looked at the top 5 teams here, I didn't want to waste any more time because it was abundantly clear how everything's the same in this mode. But even at this team, now the ratings are lower, but look at it's the same shapes, right? It's not like contact spiked in one of these and defense is spiked or something like that. It's the same exact shape in all of these. And so that was the first thing, just the kind of the basic roster makeup. And again, looking at a kind of a surface level there. But as we go deeper into these, and now I just looked at, because I didn't need to look much further, I just looked at really the first box score of each of these teams, right? So the number 1 ranked team, I went down to the Hurricanes, which is them. And what I did is I tallied all of these names that were being used in these top 5 teams in just their most recent box score. So again, admittedly, this isn't the deepest thing because I don't think it needs to be. What you're going to see as I click through here is, and I'll show you these box scores, but for now, let me just read them to you. First off, every single team had their created player as their second baseman. Every single team. So that's 100%. I actually found it funny that in this game, we had R.A. Dickey pitching against R.A. Dickey. So the very first game I pulled up, there we go, less variety. Joe Mauer was used in all 5 games as the catcher in the top 5 teams. That's 100% usage. Albert Pujols was used 4 out of the 5 teams. That's 80% usage. As I mentioned, the second basemen, 100% created players. Third basemen were all different. So the third basemen at least are different. Each team used a different third baseman. Those names, if you're curious, Alex Rodriguez, Adrian Beltre, Kyle Seager, Chipper Jones, and Ryan Braun. Shortstops, Troy Tulowitzki was on 4 of the 5 rosters. That's 80%. In the outfield, Jacoby Ellsbury was used on 40% of the rosters. Carlos Beltran, 60% of the rosters. Reggie Stocker, who of course is Barry Bonds, used in 60% of the rosters. As far as unique outfielders, there were only 6 out of the total 15 between the 5 teams. That's 40%. So we have less unique outfielders than we do non-unique outfielders, if that makes sense. So, of course, I didn't really get into the relief pitchers because I only looked at 1 box score per team because it was already abundantly clear. But again, if you went through these and looked, you're going to see the typical Chris Sales, Betances, Miller, Uehara, Jansen, Britton, and on and on and on. It's the same thing. Even some of the same bench players being used, David Ortiz and that sort of thing. And it's unfortunate because I think the mode has a lot of potential, and we want to reward players, right? I mean, we don't want it to be a complete grind to actually get a decent team, but there needs to be a little bit more balance, in my opinion. It's just too easy. And folks, these are just the top teams, right? Of course, these teams are going to be stacked, but I mean, I haven't played this in months, and my team looks very, very similar. I have a lot of these same names on my team as well. And if not, it would take me about 5 seconds to go in and buy them. So a playoff team, if they actually had like a playoff in this mode, to me, it'd be utterly boring to watch. I mean, it really comes down to player skill, and that's a good thing. It should come down to player skill for the most part. But make it more of a mode like EASHL, for instance, where they're using player archetypes. Because otherwise, I mean, collecting cards can be kind of fun. I mean, we used to do it as kids and stuff like that, but it's truly an utter waste of time when the rosters are so similar in rating, and heck, even the names are the same. It just takes a lot of the fun and that uniqueness out of it. They release a new card, everybody gets excited, but then everyone owns it, right? So, I mean, even looking at these, I mean, these teams' 8-hitters, right? Their 8-hitters would start over any of the World Series Cubs players. And so, to me, it's just, I just think if they ended up in a mode that looked a little bit more like EASHL, it could be beneficial. Now, again, maybe it doesn't need to go to that type of extreme, but that's a whole other debate, and maybe that's the discussion worth having here. And it's just an innocent discussion. There's no right answer in this, but this is, at least for me, what made me lose interest in this mode that I used to play quite a lot. It was the same teams over and over. It was like playing the same series. Take your favorite team, and they play the same team 50 games in a row. It just gets old. So I did mention I'd show you the other box scores, so let me go through and do that. But and I don't know if they've played since I looked this up, but I don't think so. This might be the same one. Yeah, the Moonstars they played. So I look through here. I'm gonna get past. And by the way, even on these teams, I didn't even look at it, but there's Tulowitzki again, right? There's Dickey again. These aren't even the teams that I looked at. Just glancing at this, you do see some unique names, obviously, but you see a lot of the same ones. Carter Capps, I didn't even write him down, but always showing up, right? Carter Capps and what's his name, Hunter, the guy from the Giants, always showing up. Chris Sale, there he is again. But here you go. Right, here are the rosters. And if I go into the third team, and I'll stop here. I'm only going to go through the top 5. And these are just the most recent box scores. And the whole point being, it doesn't take a lot of research here to see that this mode just needs a little bit of help. Because ultimately, and if you're saying, well, these are the top 5 teams, of course. But isn't that what you're aspiring to be? And so you have to also build the team that looks exactly like their team. It's just boring, honestly. It's a waste of time. I would find something else to do, whether it's in this game or something else. I mean, franchise mode I still think is a lot of fun, right? So you can see here, is this the right team? No, it was the Cats, actually. But again, you see some of the same guys, Ellsbury, Britton, Billy Wagner. So Tulowitzki and Maurer, it's the same thing over and over. There it is again. Maurer, Tulowitzki, Betances, Uehara, David Ortiz pinch hitting, Jansen and Britton out of the bullpen. What a big surprise. And so again, this isn't about complaining. It's about how do we make this better? Because frankly, I don't want to play this. And it's a shame because it's fun. What I've actually found, and here's my kind of the positive spin on it, I think the Play Now online is a better mode because you get more balanced rosters. You're going to get more role players, true role players, like a real pinch runner who can only basically run. Or you're going to see, actually, real platoon players and actual strategic, difficult bullpen decisions. We're not bringing in a setup guy or closer every single time. That's just not hard. It's just not real baseball. And that's okay. It's a game. But I guess if you're looking for the silver lining in it, I guess it's just not, it could be better. And I think that's the whole point of this here is hopefully it will be. And I think they can do that by just giving the mode a little bit more variety. I've mentioned before in some other Operation Sports stories that I really liked when they used to have the fictional players. And some people on Operation Sports have posted on my story, like, well, they already have fictional players. You're right. They have that one you can create, but I guess I was talking about, like, it must have been like 3 years ago now or 2 years ago where the whole roster could be fictionalized, which I thought was really cool. You got some of that variety. Now, granted, a lot of the players are probably going to be rated 95s or 92s or whatever, but, it was just nice to see some of that variety. At least with the fictional names, and it'd be cool even in the future if they could come up with some fictional stadiums and that kind of thing. So anyway, I'll stop it there. How do we make this mode better? Because really, the way it looks now, it's just not worth playing, in my opinion. If it's fun for you, go for it. But again, I would highly recommend the Play Now games, right? Play Now online. And let me get out of this here and just show you what we're talking about. But the Play Now Live, you can go in here and you can play these. And so never understood why it says the last 10, 0 and 10. But then that must not calculate right. So anyway, if you go to the Play Now Live, it's really cool because, again, you can use the actual updated rosters and you just get a little bit more roster variety. So that would be my suggestion. Thanks for watching, everybody. Mike Lowe here, Operation Sports. Happy New Year, and we'll talk soon.